Hey people, it is Friday, December the 15th. Time is 3:54 in the afternoon. It's currently a very mild 12 degrees Celsius. And I thought I'd take a walk up to Dundas Street East, which apparently will be keeping its name. That's right, Dundas Street will not be renamed. That's been a subject of debate for the last couple of years now as to whether or not they should rename Dundas Street, given the history of its Scottish namesake. But I think they've decided to hold off on renaming the street, and as a compromise, they have decided, City Council I'm talking about, has decided to rename Dundas Square and Dundas Subway Station. So we're going to start heading towards Dundas Square, as it's still called for now, along the still to be called Dundas Street. And once I get to Yonge-Dundas Square, I will reveal the new name that they've chosen for probably the most prominent square in the city, probably the epicenter of the city in many ways, or the heart of downtown. And here's Dundas Street right here. I'm glad that they've decided to back off and renaming the entire street. That would have cost upwards of $12 or $13 million apparently. And this compromise to rename Yonge-Dundas Square and Dundas Station will obviously be far less expensive. The thing is, it would not only have been the street name they would have to have changed, but the dozens and dozens of businesses that have the Dundas Street name in their business name on their signs would also have to be changed. Crossing Jarvis Street. Jarvis Street is another street that is named after a questionable person from the 18th or 19th century. I think many of the major streets in Toronto, if you look back at their namesakes, probably have cause for the same concerns as the namesake of Dundas Street. So it's just not realistic, is it, to have to possibly change the street names of all these major streets in the city? I don't think anyone was really supportive of the idea. other than a small minority of people, of changing the street name of Dundas in the first place. And the reaction to the new name of Yonge-Dundas Square so far has been overwhelmingly negative. I don't know if that'll ever be accepted or embraced in any way in the near future anyway. Maybe over the next 20 or 30 years it might eventually settle into normalcy, but until then I don't see it happening. I think people will remain referring to it as Yonge-Dundas Square or just Yonge and Dundas, because the street names at the intersection will not be changing. So everyone will just say Yonge and Dundas just as they always have, or the square at Yonge and Dundas, or just Yonge and Dundas Square. It'll still be used. And it's fairly busy here at this time, coming into the Friday rush hour.
Like 75, 25.
Crossing Church Street. We're almost at the square. At Victoria Street. And there's the square right over there. And Dundas Station is right up ahead here. So I'll walk over into the square and then we'll reveal the new name and maybe I'll talk about it for a second. I'll just basically read off of a news article explaining the reasons for the change and how this new name was chosen. Busy here right now, well, unsurprisingly, at this time of day.
And I ate it. Because it happened to me. I'm a fuck.
All right, here we are. Let's see if we got some nice activities set up. There's the Tree of Remembrance. And we got some Christmas music, so I'll just move back over here. So they've decided to rename Yonge-Dundas Square to Sankofa Square. That's right, Sankofa. That's S-A-N-K-O-F-A. And reading from this news article, it says Toronto City Council voted Thursday to rename Yonge-Dundas Square to Sankofa Square and recommend a host of other landmarks be stripped of the Dundas name over connections to the transatlantic slave trade. And the vote was carried by 19-2 to rename Yonge-Dundas Square. And it says Dundas Street and other similarly named landmarks are still named after Henry Dundas, a Scottish politician active from the 1770s to the early 1800s, when the British Parliament was debating slavery abolition motions. So there's a lot of debate as to whether or not Henry Dundas was against slavery or pro-slavery. I think he was most assuredly against slavery, but he wasn't prepared to end it quickly enough, I suppose, and that's the reason why this has all come to pass. There's lots of obvious information and things that are to be learned and sifted through as to the true nature of that time and everything that he did and said. Everyone has a different opinion on the matter. Everything I've read, he seems to come out as being a very upstanding and well-meaning man, especially for that time period. So I think to move to paint him as some sort of bad guy is quite misguided, in my opinion. So Sankofa Square, the second quarter of 2024 is when the name change will be made official. And the meaning behind that is it's a Ghanaian term from Ghana in Africa. It says the concept of Sankofa originating in Ghana refers to the act of reflecting on and reclaiming teachings from the past, which enables us to move forward together. That sounds great. That's a lovely sentiment and thought. I don't see anything wrong with that. I'm just not sure how it relates to or has much to do with the epicenter of downtown Toronto, really. I think a lot of people have those same questions on this matter. What does that really have to do with Toronto or its history at all, really? Or what is this connection to Toronto as a place? So I'm kind of curious to see how this will play out over the next several months. I think the backlash is pretty harsh right now. Will it die down? Most likely. Will people just shrug and move on with their lives? Most likely. Will people just start calling it Sankofa Square by this time next year? I highly doubt it. I don't see that happening. I think people will still call it Dundas Square or Yonge-Dundas for many years to come. People still call the Rogers Centre the Sky Dome, including me. But Dundas Street will retain its name. So that's one thing, I guess, that has come out from this on the positive side, at least for many people. So on that note, let's take a little stroll along a bit more of Dundas Street. Here from Yonge-Dundas, as it will remain. I was wondering if there'd be news crews at the square asking people their thoughts. Maybe there were earlier. I'd like to see people's reactions to the new name.
Who's that? Who's that? Yeah, okay. If you do that, bro.
A very beautiful day.
What? No, I have to. Goes up like it's really.
Just walking past the Eaton Centre. Let's continue on west. I'll walk through Little Tokyo. We'll get a taste of downtown Dundas Street here on a busy Friday. Very warm Friday here today. I think 13 degrees was the forecast high for the day.
rush hour, I will have to home.
Yeah, just like
Yeah, my friend was on talking about, I don't even know what. It's just like, yeah. Too funny.
And I can already see the light fading away. It's only 4:15 and the darkness is creeping upon us already. Another half an hour or so, I think it'll be well past sunset. Well, the hand-holding couple managed to take up almost the entire sidewalk there.
Yes, it's something. Okay, thank you so much.
I haven't been to most of these restaurants. I think I've only been to one or two. It looks like this block of restaurants here is up for redevelopment. 41-story residential building. Replace that block. Almost had a collision there. She just stopped abruptly. That's the 505 Dundas streetcar. There is another subway station on line 2 called Dundas West. I think that station will also be renamed at a later time. So I think that's the full agreement. So the 2 subway stations will be renamed and the square will be renamed. So TMU Station will be the new name of Dundas Station, if I didn't mention that already. That's Toronto Metropolitan University. That would be quite a long mouthful of a subway station name, so I think TMU is definitely the better choice there. Here's University Avenue.
You can't actually.
It's warm enough for some people to be wearing shorts right now, although I've seen people wearing shorts in far colder days than this.
And
I'm currently just wearing my hoodie with a flannel shirt. I'm quite comfortable. That's Artistry Condos rising there. It still has quite a ways to go before it tops out. I think it'll be around 30 floors or thereabouts. And they call it Artistry Condos because it's right across the street from the Art Gallery of Ontario and just up the street from the Ontario College of Art and Design. Or OCAD University, I guess, as it's now called.
Yeah, we're in like a drive-through.
Leute entlassen.
I don't know, but you know.
There's OCAD University there on the right up ahead. Got the CN Tower looming off in the distance, and this is the Art Gallery of Ontario. And I think I'm going to start wrapping things up here as we took a little stroll along Dundas Street from the east side over to the west side, stopping at the still for now called Yonge-Dundas Square, soon to be renamed Sankofa Square. I actually had to take a second to remember that name. I think that's going to be a problem for a lot of people. It's like, what was it called again? It's just not a word that comes naturally, I guess, without repeated exposure and seeing it in print and other people talking about it for years and years. Then maybe it'll sink in one day. Anyway, enough of that. I hope you enjoyed the walk. And let me know your thoughts and comments on this whole renaming situation and what you think of the new name. I'd like to hear all perspectives on the matter. And be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And also make sure you hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any of my videos. And if you'd like to support the channel, there are links in the description where you can do so via PayPal, as well as via my merch store. And there's also a super thanks button right down below, and you can also support the channel by becoming a channel member if you like. And you can find me on Instagram under KContinuum. So thanks for watching, and be sure to keep checking back, because as always, I will continue.